Louisville, home of the best scrapper, also home of the best rapper. Flow dapper, here's another chapter. Ride through, attack you, ride away your laughter. This is what I'm after, blowing on that rapper. Purple Patrol, keep a bunch to blow.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Cardinal Red, and we back for some more of that Ali Land Daily Boxing Talk, people. And today we talking Pacquiao's return fight, plus was Manny Pacquiao versus Terence Crawford all a Bob Arum lie? Alright, y'all, let's get into it, man. So let's break down Manny Pacquiao's return fight, and when will we see the legendary, the icon, one of the greatest boxers I've ever seen in my life, Manny Pacquiao, returning to the boxing ring. Well, news dropped, I believe it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. Today is December the 16th. News dropped a couple of days ago that Manny Pacquiao was looking to make his return after the Senate session in the Philippines. And he said that would be maybe the end of March, early April 2021. So, you know, that hopefully that's when we get to see the Pac-Man again. Is he already in training? We don't know yet. Or does he train on a daily basis? I'm pretty sure he does some type of training on a daily basis, but is he in full fight shape like we normally see Pacquiao? You know, it's been over a year since we've seen him knock down Keith Thurman and pretty much pick him apart. It was a great fight, man. It was an awesome fight. But it's been over a year since we saw that. So what shape is Manny Pacquiao in, and who will he actually fight when he gets his next fight, which will be his return fight? Me personally, you know, there are a bunch of names getting tossed around, man. But me personally, I really want to see him take on your Danish you guys. I keep speaking about this, and the more and more I watch you guys, the more and more I'm impressed by you guys. I've read some stuff about when he won the WBA regular title as a welterweight, and the fact that fans are not recognizing him. Some of the people in the WBA are not recognizing him, but he is the WBA regular champ, which makes him the number one contender for Manny Pacquiao's super title. And so I'm not sure where this is gonna go. Is Pacquiao gonna fight you guys? Is he gonna fight James, who is number 2 in the WBA? Is he gonna fight James is number 1, Mikey Garcia is number 2, and I forgot who's behind Mikey Garcia. But that's just in the WBA rankings. And then they have you guys as the regular champion and Manny Pacquiao as the super champion. And the regular champion is the number 1 contender for the super champion. Now, does he actually fight the number 1 contender? I don't know. A lot of people think he should go ahead and fight Mikey. They feel like that's a better fight than the you guys fight, because I think they feel like you guys is not sellable. I'm not sure about that. You know, he might not be sellable. He doesn't have a huge name. Not a lot of people even know who he is. But what I do know is that he holds that regular title. Or he should be holding that regular title. If the WBA is not recognizing him, I'm not sure. He's been photographed with the title, so it's a big mess. I'm not really sure what's going on with the WBA regular title, but he won it by split decision about a year ago. So he is the WBA regular champion. Is that the direction we're gonna see Pacquiao go in? I'm not sure, man. I just think it's a good fight because it sets up for the Errol Spence fight and or the Terence Crawford fight. You guys is a perfect specimen when it comes to comparing someone to Terence Crawford or Errol Spence. He's the best guy at welterweight that you could compare to a Crawford or Spence body type. So to me, that's the best fight for Manny Pacquiao to take as a tune-up fight or his return fight in 2021 to prepare for either Terence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. with that being said, let's talk about this Manny Pacquiao versus Terence Crawford fight, because when he beat Kell Brook, the first thing they wanted to do was call out Manny Pacquiao. And it's funny because it's funny to me because when Terence Crawford beat Kell Brook, and he called out Pacquiao, we didn't hear anything from Pacquiao. He didn't say, I don't think he said anything as far as getting on social media and addressing it. But when Errol Spence beat Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao poked his head out and let everyone know what his intentions are. So I think it's funny how, Terence Crawford's kind of being left out of the welterweight unification talks right now. And it's kind of like they're shading him on purpose because he's not at PBC boxing. Now, I'm going to blame a little bit of this on Terence Crawford because he should have never signed that extension to his contract. I think he realizes that too, and that's one of the reasons you're not really hearing a lot. I mean, we've heard from Terence Crawford saying that he would like to be released and all this stuff, but, it's his fault. I think he should just wait out his contract at this point. And that's why I think a lot of this is going to play out in a certain way. But I think Terence Crawford should just wait out his contract and go hop over to the PBC and then possibly have some bigger fights, lined up. But I think all this is going to play out in a certain way simply because, one, that contract that he signed with Bob Arum, and two, that he's not on PBC boxing basically, and the PBC guys are kind of freezing him out. And I think they're doing that intentionally. I'm pretty sure there are people behind the scenes telling them, or advising them to not take any fight with Terence Crawford and try to force him to come over to the PBC so they can get fights done easier and cheaper than they would if they would have to co-promote with Bob Arum and Top Rank Boxing. Do I feel like all this was a lie from Bob Arum? This is the thing. Promoters are paid to do what promoters are paid to do, which is promote fights, make fights sometimes bigger than what they really are, but get fans really interested in it. So I think Bob Arum did what he was supposed to do. When Terence Crawford beat Kell Brook, he tried his best to promote Kell Brook through promote Terence Crawford through ESPN as the biggest thing the welterweight division's ever seen, and he's accomplished that. They got people talking like Terence Crawford is the best welterweight out there, which he's really not because of the competition that he's faced compared to the competition that Spencer's faced and the competition that Pacquiao's faced. You can't sit here and say, well, this guy is the best welterweight out there. I mean, he's simply not. But with all that being said, as far as Bob Arum goes, like I said, I think he did what promoters are supposed to do. They're promoting their fighters. They're trying to build their fighters up, sometimes bigger than what they are, to sell fights. And that's what Bob Arum did. And you can't really blame him or be mad at him. I'm more mad at Terence Crawford for re-ing up his contract with Top Rank Boxing, and instead of moving on. When you saw Pacquiao move on, you should have known something was up. When Pacquiao moved on, you had the opportunity to move on yourself. Obviously, he knew something that you didn't know, and you should have inquired to Manny Pacquiao about why he was leaving. Instead, I think he saw the pile of money that was being left behind by Manny Pacquiao, and Bob Arum, I'm sure, got in his ear and got him to sign that extension. So a lot of this is Terence Crawford's own doing. You're stuck over there on Top Rank Island because of I hate to call it greed, but because you wanted what Bob Arum had left over from Manny Pacquiao being at Top Rank Boxing. And it is what it is, man. Are we going to see Crawford versus Pacquiao? Now here's the thing. This is why I said I think this is all going to play out in a certain way. I think Pacquiao is going to end up fighting either Mikey, you guys. He might even fight James. I believe his name is Jamal James. He's the number 2 guy in the WBA. So we might get a surprise fight thrown in there. I believe his name. I know his last name is James, but I think his first name is Jamal James. So is he going to fight Mikey, Jamal James, or you guys? We really don't know. But I think it's going to be one of those three names in April that Pacquiao will be taking on as his first and his return fight. And then I think you're going to see Manny Pacquiao take on Errol Spence JR for a welterweight unification. That's the only thing I don't like about about the path that Pacquiao is going about, because he's saying he's going to fight twice in 2021, and then if he beats Spence, which I don't think he should have to fight both of these guys. I feel like it's unfair. I feel like it's awesome for fans, but it's unfair for a 40-year-old Pacquiao who's about to run for presidency to have to take all this on his plate. And but I think it would be the most amazing ending to probably one of the most historic boxing careers we've ever saw play out in history. And if he beats both of these guys, this is some history setting stuff. This isn't some joke. Not only is he in his 40s, but he would have won championships spanning almost 20 years, and that's I think pretty much unheard of. But I think it's going to play out in the way that he fights, you guys, Mikey or Jamal James, then takes on Errol Spence in the summertime. If he beats Errol Spence, he'll move on, I believe, and fight. Have an exhibition with Conor McGregor, and if all goes well, there would be a tune-up for a undisputed unification fight with Terrence "Bud" Crawford, and by then Crawford could have been out of his top-ranked contract and moved over to PBC. So I think it would play out in Crawford's favor if he just waited it out and let them two guys fight it out, see who wins, because either way, in less than a year or about a year, he can just walk away from top-ranked boxing and go where he wants to go. So I think that's how it's going to play out, man. Let me know what y'all think, man. Putting in a lot of work right now. Trying to get my body together and get the channel right, man. Got some big things coming, hopefully. Let me know what y'all think about that. It's your boy, Cardinal Red, as always. Follow your dreams, and your dreams will come true. Tell your mama, your daddy, your dog, your cat, your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, your nephew, everybody about Ali Land Boxing Talking Cardinal Red, man. Trying to grow the platform as big as we can get it, and with your help, we can get there. It's your boy, Cardinal Red, and we are out of here.
Louisville, home of the best scrapper, also home of the best rapper. Flow dapper, here's another chapter. Ride through, attack you, ride away your laughter. This is what I'm after, blowing on that rapper. Purple keep a bunch to blow.